everybody, Michelle here in Northern Illinois. Welcome back to my channel. I hope today you are ready to garden. I know it's only January, but there's still things that you can do in January. So I have a fundraiser event coming up in April where I do all the centerpieces for. And so what I'm doing today is I'm going to get my ranunculus pre-sprouted because this is one of the main flowers that I'm going to use in the centerpieces for my event in April. Now, normally you wouldn't do this early, but because I need this for the event, we're going to do it today and I'm going to show you how. So ranunculus take about 90 days to go from this to this. So these are corms, and when you get them, they're going to look all dried out and decimated and like dead little alien things. Now, if you live in zone 7, 8, 9, all of those zones, these grow as a perennial and you plant them in the fall. But up here in the north, we have to dig them up every year and store them and then replant them every single year. They're super easy to grow and they're super easy to dig up and store. There's not a lot of special things that you have to do for that, and I'll go over that at the end. But what you have to do first, whether you're going to plant them in the ground, plant them in a pot, or however you're going to do it, is you have to soak the corms. Now, the corms need to be soaked for 3 to 4 hours in lukewarm or room temperature water. You don't want to use cold water. They also say that you need to keep the water aerated, so you can do that a couple different ways. I just typically change the water out every hour on the hour. So I put it in like a big bowl like this. I filled it up with water. I dumped it in the strainer, and then I just did that 4 times. Now, the other thing you can do is you could leave it in the bowl and leave a trickle of running water on it. I don't do that because it's kind of water waste. Or maybe if you have a little pump, you could stick a pump in there to aerate it. And I know some people just take their hand and swish it around in the water every 30, 45 minutes, just so you have some airflow in there and you don't have bacteria building up. For me, I think dumping the water out and putting fresh water on it every hour, that's what I do. I think that works the best for me. But in some way, shape, or form, you do need to pre-soak these so that they're ready to be pre-sprouted. Now, whether you do these right in the ground or you're going to pre-sprout them, I have always had better luck pre-sprouting than just sticking them right in the ground. I think part of it is because the temperatures in the spring here are so hit and miss. And I like to do mine in pots because I can control it a little bit better, but you can certainly do them in the ground as well. So I am way ahead of when I would normally do this. Normally, if I was going to do this and put the ranunculus in the ground, I wouldn't even start pre-sprouting until March. And then I would probably do a batch like every 2 weeks for 3 batches so that I had blooms longer throughout the season. Now, I like to use these in cut flower arrangements, and I like to use them for the girls. This is a cool season annual, and once the temperatures hit 80 degrees or the ground temperatures, they won't grow. They'll start to go dormant and they're done. So you want to plant these when you have the opportunity to use them. So I like to use them in spring pots. I like to sell them as spring pots at the garden center. And this year I'm doing them early for this centerpiece that I'm going to do as a planter, and I'm going to be adding pansies to them as well. And that's why I'm starting so early. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's add some potting mix to this. Okay, we're going to start with that. Just break this up. Okay, so now this is nice and damp, and as you can see, it's a darker color, but it doesn't clump. You can tell because it went from like a light brown to a darker brown, but it's just wet enough, okay? So I'm gonna do this 2 different ways. I'm gonna do it in these 6-pack cells so I can put individual corms in, and then I'm also gonna do it in a flat tray. So basically what I'm gonna do is just put a little bit of dirt in the bottom of the 6-packs, you know, just a little bit in there, and then I'm gonna lay the corms in, and then I'm gonna cover them with dirt. All right. So here we go. We're going to fill all of these and then we'll add the corms. Now I'm going to take my corns and the pointy ends go down. They look like little squids to me. So then I'm just going to put these in here side by side. Okay, and I'm going to fill this tray up. Now, if this is something that you want to try, you're not too late. You can probably order corms. I'm sure there's lots of sources out there. I do know that you can get them from Eden Brothers. I was actually on their website this morning, and I ordered a few different colors. The ones I'm doing today are a mixed color, and I got these from Netherland Bulb Company, and that's the wholesale bulb company that I use to bring my bulbs in for the store. I did order from Eden Brothers this morning so that the ones that I want to do in March, I will have those available. So in March, what I'll do is I'll end up getting some more corms and I'll pre-sprout them, and I will do a tray every 2 weeks. That way I have ranunculus for a really super long period of time. Now, I will pre-sprout my first batch usually right around March 15th, and I'm in zone 5B. It takes about 2 weeks for you to start seeing the roots to grow. And then when that's done, then I can go from there right out into the ground. Now, before I put them out in the ground, what I'll do is I'll spend a week hardening them off. And what I mean by that is every day I'll take my tray outside for 2 or 3 hours, and I will get them used to being outside. And then I will put them in the ground. Now, the other thing that I'll have to do when I put them in the ground, though, is I will have to do some kind of hoop system where I can cover them with landscape fabric or landscape cloth to protect them. These guys do not want to be in the ground or be outside if the temperature is below 28 degrees. So you want to make sure that if the temperature is below 28, that you have a way to cover them up, and that doesn't want to be for a long extended period of time. That's why I wait until March before I start even thinking about pre-sprouting for the ones that I'm going to put in the ground. All right, I'm going to put them down in these little 6-packs. I'm just doing them both ways. I've never done them in the 6-packs before, but I'm thinking that maybe these here, because I have a lot, I don't know if I'll need all of them for the centerpieces, so I'm going to do some in these little 6-packs so I can pot them up in individual pots, and then I can sell them as early spring sales. So we'll get some of these ready. Oh, I lost one. There it went. So I'll get some of these ready too. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting one corm down in each one of these, and then I'm going to top it with soil when I'm done. So if this is something that you want to do and you decide to order some corms, what you want to do is be like 2 to 3 weeks in front of when you actually want to put them in the ground. And in whatever zone you're in, how do I know when that is? Well, basically you want the temperatures outside at night to be between 30 and 35 degrees. You don't want the temperatures below 28, because remember, they aren't going to live below 28 degrees. And let's say that, you know, you get to mid-March or whenever it is for you, that those temperatures are happening and you have a night that dips down. That one night isn't going to take them out. But you do have to create some kind of super hoop or a hoop thing over the top of it so that you can cover it with like a row cover or something to protect them. You want the daytime temperatures to be between 40 and 50 degrees. And that's what you're looking at. Ooh, that one doesn't look good at all. We're just not even going to put that one in. That's what you're kind of looking at for that. Because remember, it takes about 90 days from this point to actually getting flowers. So that's why I like to do this. That's why I like to do the succession planting. And in mid-March, I'll start like a tray, and then I'll start another tray. Now, the other thing is make sure you label your little containers of the different ones that you get if you get different colors. Mine is just a mixed bag. They're all different colors, so I don't have to label. But if you go to Eden Brothers and you go to their website, they have some really nice colors. And so you can pick out the ones that you like there. All right, so we're going to finish getting these all in the trays, and then we're going to cover them with soil. So I ended up getting 263. I got 76 in this one, didn't quite fill the tray. I have 115 in here, and then I did 12 of the 6-packs, which gives me 72 in these individual ones right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this same potty mix right here, and I'm going to top this off with potty mix, and then I'm going to take them inside to a cool, dry, dark place. All right, there they are, all covered up. Now, I want to make sure that this doesn't dry out, and I want to make sure that I put them in an area where I can get to them easily too. So we're going to take them inside, and I have a closet that I'm going to put them in. All right, got my stacks. I'm ready to bring them inside. It's getting cold out here in this greenhouse. I took the chill off when I turned the heater on, but we typically don't heat this greenhouse up here. Now, what's nice about ranunculus is you can dig these corms up if you live in the north or above a zone six or higher, 6 or lower. I don't know which way to say that. Anyways, like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, all of those zones. You can dig these up and you can store them and use them the next year. They're good for about 8 months. And by the time you're ready to do it again, 8 months has gone by. And you're going to just do it like in a paper sack. I just use lunch sacks. The other thing though is you want the corm to re-energize and create little babies for you too, because that will happen. And you wait till the foliage dies back, or turns, not dies back, but starts to turn yellow. And it'll do it all on its own, because they'll start going into dormancy when the temperatures in the ground reach about 80 degrees. Now, don't leave them in the ground and do it later, because voles and moles like to eat these corms, and you don't want to lose all your beautiful corms to a rodent. Now, I don't want to lose mine to a rodent. The other thing is when you dig them up and put them in different containers, especially if you have different colors, and label them, because they'll all look the same, and then you'll mix them all up, and then the next year you won't know what you have until after they grow, and then you'll have to start all over again. So I've done that before. Now this year, this group here, I'm not getting any of these back, because the centerpieces that I'm doing for this fundraiser will be given away or sold or whatever they do with them at the end of the fundraiser. But the other ones that I do that I'm going to sprout over in the raised bed, not until March, those I'll dig up, and I'll show you how to do that when we do it. But it's so easy to do. You want to store them in the paper bag, closed, so it stays dark in a cool, dry, dark place. Now, a basement is a great place to do this unless you have a humid basement. So if you have a dry basement, this works great. Otherwise, a closet works pretty good too if you can put them in a closet. Just don't forget you put them in there. Because 8 months is about all you're going to get in the bag. And then you just start the process all over again. So you got to love it, because 1, they make babies and you get more. And 2, they're super easy to grow. So if you're looking for that spring flower to put in your pots, put in the ground, because you can sprinkle these through your garden with your tulips and your daffodils. Oh, so easy to do, and a fun project, and something to do in the winter as well. If you're going to plant corms in the ground, they go about 2 inches in the ground, and you're going to space them 5 to 8 inches apart. When they're full grown, they get about 20 inches high, and they get like 6 to 12 inches wide. Any of your spring blooming annuals are great companions for these. I'm going to be doing mine with pansies, and pansies I'm going to start from seed. They take 10 to 12 weeks to go to bloom, so I'm probably going to start my seeds next on the pansies and get them underneath some grow lights, and then I'll be putting everything together in the container that I'm going to use for the centerpiece and grow them on from there. So that'll be really fun. The other thing that will happen with these that I'm pre-sprouting early, and because I'm growing them in pots, once these are done in about 2 weeks, that's about what it takes, and I see the roots and the top start to grow, I will pot these up in individual 4-inch pots and grow them up even bigger before I put them in the final container that they're going to go to. Now, in the pots, I'm going to have to fertilize them. I'll probably use a liquid fertilizer. I'll probably do it at half strength, probably once a week, just to give them that extra charge to make sure that they keep going. In the ground, I don't fertilize them. I just prep my bed that I'm going to put them in, and I put Bio-Tone fertilizer to get them going, and I add compost, and that way I've got this good growing medium for them to grow in. If you're going to do them in the ground though, you want to make sure that wherever you put them, they have good drainage, because they will not grow, they'll rot out if they're in anywhere where in the spring you have standing water. They don't like that at all. So be aware of that if you're thinking about adding them into your landscape in different places. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. I think the only other thing is, like, I'm going to be doing these like in a shallow bowl. They don't have a very deep root system, so you can get away with a shallower container when you're planting them. And if you're planting them up in pots, typically the rule of thumb is 1 in an 8-inch pot, 2 in a 10-inch pot, 3 in a 12-inch pot. That's about all you're going to get in there. But I'm going to be using these round bowls because I want them to grow up as this nice centerpiece, and I don't want it to be so awkward and big and tall, the pot, that you can't see the people on the other side of the table. So that's why I'm going to use a low, shallow bowl, because both the pansies and the ranunculus, they're going to look great together, and they're going to be fabulous. And this is all going to work out. And every one of them is going to grow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to have some loss, and I've never done it like this as far as like growing them in this or pre-sprouting and then putting them in the 4-inch pots and then putting them in another pot to try to use as a centerpiece. So we're gonna cross our fingers, hope it all works out, and they're gonna be totally gorgeous. But I will take you along. Whether or not they fail or succeed, you're gonna see it with me. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks so much for watching. And if you made it this far into the video and it's your first time here, I didn't even tell you, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you liked our video, please subscribe below, share with your friends, leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, starting next week on Instagram and Facebook Reels, we start our Greener Garden Moments with the Landscape Connection, 60 to 90-second videos that will be just good garden practices, what looks good in the garden right now, tips, tricks, and hacks. So make sure you grab those, because I hope that we're going to give you little gems and nuggets of knowledge that will help you be a better gardener. So I'm Michelle. We'll see you next time. Keep on gardening. Bye, everybody.